Okay, how about this? Media and Trump's first 100 days. Now, we all know at this point, I mean, I think it's pretty crystal clear when you watch the news. It's very fucking one-sided, and everybody realizes that outfits like CNN and MSNBC are what we call fake news, not in the fact that they report actual fake stories, but in the fact that they don't unbiasedly report the news, they report their political agendas. Now, journalism is supposedly unbiased, right? So you go into a situation and you have certain views as a person, but that's not your goal as a journalist. Your goal as a journalist is to report the news, and then the left and the right can read that news and veer it towards them in any direction they please. It's not your goal as a journalist to skew every news story in one direction, because that's obviously very biased, and that's what CNN does and MSNBC. They're just anti-Trumpers all the way. That fucking short-haired lesbo who's always bitching and trying to prove that Trump colluded with Russia because of some 25-year-old goddamn house that was bought. I mean, you watch her and she'll talk for 45 minutes and she won't say anything. She'll talk and just be like, oh, you know, there was this guy who bought a house from Trump 10 years ago that was worth $1 million, but he spent $2 million. That, I mean, take that how you want. That's an extra $1 million that Trump gave to Russia somehow. Like, I don't know what that means. You do the math. Like, chick, listen. There's nothing wrong with being a lesbo. But don't take it out on the man because you think he's a goddamn sexist. You know what I mean? What if Hillary did win? Would your lesbo act against her, since she actually is very anti-women? If you look into her history, you will realize that she's not for women. She's a woman that's not for your rights. She's not.
On Malabar Road Southeast for 1 mile.
So where was I? Okay, so Trump's first 100 days. 100 days goes by, which, as most people should know by now, it's just a fake marker point, right? 100 days doesn't really mean anything. It's just what the media invented a while back to kind of show what they did, what they've done. Now, if you watch the media, the CNN and the MSNBC lesbo, they'll just be like, in 100 days, he hasn't done nothing. The only thing he did was make a Muslim ban that got denied in court because it was illegal, and tried to ban sanctuary cities, and that got thrown out, which is proof he's a moron. And then you actually watch real news. You watch, a right-leaning organization like Fox, or you do your own research, and you realize in 100 days, this man has accomplished an incredible amount of... I mean, you should know, if you're watching this video, that Trump, as a candidate, was producing results, okay? Producing results. You got something like North Korea, which will be my next topic, by the way, so I won't touch on it too much. You got something like North Korea that every other president before him just did the kick in the can. Kick the can down the road. Don't worry about North Korea. Hey, North Korea, don't do some shit, but whatever. Blah, blah, blah.
Quarter mile, turn right onto the I-95 ramp to North Jacksonville.
And he actually did something. He actually is doing something right now. The chemical attack in Syria. However you want to view that happened, he made a show of force. He didn't go crazy. He didn't bomb the whole fucking village and kill people. He just made a show of force. Here I am. I will do something. I'm the guy, the action man, He made a point. I am action. I'm not talk like fucking Obama was.
In a quarter mile, merge onto I-95 north.
On that note, there is something you should do, and I do it many times. I will go on Google News and just look at all the stories and say to myself, is this a positive towards a Trump story? Is this a positive or negative? And I would say at least 90%, and sometimes all of them 100, but let's say at least 90% to be generous. At least 90% of these stories you read, their title is very negative. And you could take one piece of news, right? And I'm going to make up a piece of news. Let's say, let's say Trump decided to call the color blue purple, right? Just something stupid. The right news, the real news would be like, oh yeah, Trump, decided to call color purple because, that's what kids are calling it anyway, so he just made it law. The left would be like, oh my God, the color that's racist. That was a black movie, wasn't it? Wasn't that about racist? He's racist. Nazi. Oh my God, he's a Nazi, racist, feminist, sexist, xenophobist, Islamophobist, transphobia person, doesn't have transsexual bathrooms, and they would just go off on a crazy rant, and it doesn't make any fucking sense, because that's not what news is supposed to be. The news should say, latest in news, Trump decided to call the color blue purple because kids in America are calling it that. I mean, that's that. That's the news right there. And then you read that and you can decide if it's good or bad on your own. You don't need the news to tell you if it's good or bad. If he calls it the color purple because he likes that movie because it's about racism. I mean, Jesus Christ.